I'm James Rule. Welcome to the Lonely Leader podcast, where we help existing and aspiring leaders find clarity, build resilience, drive performance, and enhance fulfilment. Having branded my business The Lonely Leader, it'll come as no surprise that I have a huge passion for addressing the loneliness that comes with leadership. It is what most people experience, but it doesn't have to be this way. Yes, you have to make decisions that other people don't have to. Yes, you carry pressures that other people don't experience. Naturally, you can't always say what you think, and the higher you climb, the less peers that you can find to engage with. All that being said, we must avoid drifting into a position of isolation and loneliness, because fundamentally that will only do two things. It will erode your ability to optimize your performance at best, and at worst, it will allow you to internalize the stress and pressure that comes with senior leadership until such times as it damages you either physically or mentally. And again, full disclosure, I've been there. I've collapsed with pneumonia during my tenure as a CEO. And as with everything I do on this podcast, there is no judgment, there is no patronization. I have walked that path of loneliness and isolation, and I recognize how unnecessary it is. And so today's episode is about giving you some comfort that you are not alone, some understanding of what drives that loneliness, and encouraging you to reflect on the essential support networks that I think every leader should be investing in to get the best out of themselves as a professional operator, to protect their health and well-being, and in turn give the best guidance and leadership to everybody that you are tasked with leading. I want to kick things off by highlighting three of the core reasons in my personal experience as a CEO, and also with the privilege of working with so many CEOs around the world, why loneliness exists. Well, first and foremost, fundamentally, your responsibilities increase faster than your support. What do I mean by that? Well, the ownership of your organization, the board, the shareholders, whoever you are reporting into, and this isn't just about CEOs, incidentally. This is about senior leaders anywhere. So you might not have a board directly above you. You might not have shareholders directly above you, but you will have somebody that you report into. So wherever you are on that leadership journey, this point is relevant. People know what they need you to do. As you move up, as you get promoted, as you step into that new role, it's, welcome. This is everything we need you to do. These are all the tasks. This is everything on your to-do list. Over to you. Now, that's not done from a position of malice. It's just, thank goodness we've got somebody in this position. You're qualified. You're a good leader. We've recruited you, or we've promoted you for a reason. Off you go. So we are very good as individuals in passing on the responsibilities, the KPIs, the tasks that we need executing. But individually and organizationally, in my experience, we are very poor at thinking about what support network do we also need to develop to give that new recruit or that promoted individual the very best chance of executing and delivering on those tasks at the highest level. And I think what really highlights that for me is we're very good at following up with those leaders and saying, how are you doing on Project A? How are you doing on the execution of Project X? We're actually very poor at saying, and how are you doing personally? We're very much focused on, are you delivering on the tasks we need you to do? And we're pretty negligent on, and how are you as a person, as a human being? Where's your stress level? How are you coping with the magnitude and enormity of everything on your to-do list? As I step into the second core reason of why loneliness becomes so prevalent, particularly in senior leadership, the irony is not lost on me. I've just finished point one by saying people don't really check in on how you're doing. And the main driver that I want to focus on here that exacerbates loneliness is you become the emotional container for everybody else. People will be constantly coming to you, talking about their fears, talking about their anxieties, talking about their concerns, talking about how they're wrestling with interpersonal relationships at work, issues that are going on away from work, and they offload all of that on you. Part of their expectation as their leader is you can help them unpack that. And there's nothing wrong with that. The reality is we want to get the best out of the human beings that work for us. So we must treat them as human beings. We can't just focus in solely on their task. So when the people that you lead come to you, invariably they are massively grateful and appreciative that you help them navigate the challenges in front of them, course correct when they're slightly off piste, allow them to drift into personal fears and concerns and back into professional fears and concerns. So all of that is absolutely essential. But here's the $1 million question: who's doing that for you? So 9 out of 10 leaders that I work with have got that really strong moral compass. They 100% see the need to look after their people, to engage with them, to hold those emotions for them, to unpack them and help them navigate their fears and concerns. But they've got almost no outlet for their own emotions. And that compounds because every leader has their own fears, concerns, and frustrations. And then they've also absorbed the fears and concerns of everyone they lead. So they've got an even more essential need to release that valve and remove some of that pressure and to decompress with somebody because they've got their own challenges and absorbed everybody else's. But where does it go? Internally. It's like we're pouring more and more pressure and stress into our system, but we're forgetting we need a mechanism to release it. And into the third reason, why do we not release it? Well, we have this misguided notion, this pressure that society has helped us develop, that the best leaders are strong, infallible, show no vulnerability, have all the answers, are eternally calm, always composed, and do not need to decompress, do not need to offload, discuss or dissect any of their challenges and frustrations because they are strong, all-seeing beings that can just navigate through all these problems without any support. It's complete delusion, it's naivety, and yet we all fall into this trap. And again, full disclosure, I've been there. I was thrown in at the deep end in my late 20s at a relatively young age for the sector that I was in professional sport as a CEO. And it was off you go, get on with it. There really wasn't anybody coming in and saying, how are you doing emotionally? Do you need any additional support? So it's absolutely understandable. And I want it to be very normal that this is where we all end up invariably. But I want you to buck against the trend. Give yourself permission and say, okay, it's not just me. It's okay to feel a bit of pressure. So it's okay to feel like I do need to express it somewhere. But I'm giving you that sort of roadmap, that spotlight to say most people don't because they feel like they've got to have all the answers, be super cool, super calm, super composed. And yes, I'm not saying I want you to lose your head, run around whinging, whining, and losing your emotional balance to everybody in your organization, from the most junior to the most senior. It's not about that. Yes, you do have to have some steel and you do have to find a way forward, but you do also need a support network to help you decompress so that you can constantly maintain a high level of energy. And going back to what we said about supporting your people, it's much easier to do that when your own energy tanks are full. At this juncture, I always draw a parallel with sport. And anybody who's worked with me, anybody who knows me, knows my background was as a professional rugby player. And then I spent most of my senior leadership tenure as a CEO across 2 professional rugby clubs. Now, why is this analogy so important? Well, it gives a context. And you do not need us to be a sports fan to embrace this, but there isn't an elite sports performer in any discipline anywhere in the world that doesn't have a support network. Whether you are playing professional soccer, rugby, football, baseball, netball, cricket, golf, it does not matter. No elite athlete goes it alone. They will have nutritionists. They will have strength and conditioning coaches. They will have masseurs. They will have sports psychologists. They will have technical coaches. They will have analysts who look at video footage of their performance. And all of these people become a support structure. What are they doing? They're all doing different things, but what is their collective mission? to support the growth and development of that individual athlete, to improve their competency, their skill set, and also to protect their mindset and their health and well-being. And again, I don't care what discipline you go to, whether you are talking about men, women, junior, senior in age, team sports, individual sports, the pattern is universal. Now, let's step out of sport back into business. How many leaders have even one person in their support network? And I don't say that in judgment. I say that with absolute certainty that there are leaders listening to this that do not decompress with anybody. Now, you might say, well, I don't need a technical coach. I don't need a strength and conditioner. Absolutely granted. But let's take the principle. If most elite athletes have 6 or 7 different components in their support network and you don't have a single one, that is a huge gap, and that puts an inordinate amount of pressure on your shoulders. And in my opinion, both from my lived experience and working with senior leaders around the world, that's not sustainable. You cannot go your whole career without some sort of support network. And before you tune out and say, this isn't relevant to me, I'm not a sports person. No, you're not. So I'm now going to go into some of the support network that I believe you need to be developing. Now, I thought long and hard about how do I try and unpack this and keep it in a succinct and punchy style, because the reality is there are so many ways that you can develop your support network, and we are not robots. We are all different, and therefore it's nuanced. But when I reflect on everybody I've worked with over the last 6 years, as a coach, as a mentor, plus my own professional and personal network, I challenge myself to find the sort of overarching themes. And these are those themes. So the first area is emotional support. People that care about you, the person, rather than you, the job title. What does that look like in real terms? Well, often it'll be your partner, your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. It will be 1 or 2 of your closest friends, and perhaps it's a mentor. These are people that really understand you, care about you, and that you feel completely psychologically safe with. Now, people resist this because they don't want to unload on people. They don't just want to dump all their negativity. I accept that. But put the shoe on the other foot. If somebody in your life that you truly care about, your partner, your best friend, needed some support and advice, would you resent that? You wouldn't. You would embrace it. You would be there for them, and they will be there for you. It's about being discerning. It's about really extracting where you are struggling, as opposed to just vomiting 400 different things that frustrate you at work currently, because that is draining. But when you need to decompress about something, when you just need a perspective, you need that emotional support network. People that you can just step into being the authentic you immediately, discuss something, and perhaps sometimes you don't even need the strategic steer. They may be working a completely different space and are unable to give you that strategic insight, but what they can do is give you a friendly ear, a chance to unload. And we've all heard that old adage, a problem shared is a problem halved. So who is in your emotional support network, and are you actively engaging with them? The next area of support is strategic support, and I'm going to split that into internal and external. So from an internal perspective, no leader is an island. Do not delude yourself that you have all the answers or that you are expected to have all the answers. You are the conductor of the orchestra. You are the coach of the team. It's your job to coordinate all the high performers around you. So why would we ever delude ourselves to think, I don't need to take the perspective and insights of the people that I work with and alongside? Now, that took me some time to really embrace, because you want to make that impact as a leader, particularly if you're younger or you're new into post. It's like, oh, I need to make a difference. No, what you need to do is connect, Open up those lines of communication and make sure from day one your people recognize they have an ability to contribute to your strategy, to give feedback, to highlight where things are going well, where things are not going well, and make suggestions for how to improve it. One of the best and most essential investments in your future performance is to build that psychological safety where your people feel a connection to you and they feel comfortable giving you feedback, even when it is feedback to say things are not working or decisions are not rolling out as you'd hope they would, or the strategy that you were passionate about is not necessarily landing in the way that you hoped. So look within. Look where you are taking perspectives from, and always remember that you want perspective that is deeper than just the immediate management team or the immediate group of staff directly beneath you. Wherever you are on your leadership journey, go deeper. Go down to the grassroots, down to the proverbial coalface, and make sure you have a connectivity there as well to get perspective. Now, when I pivot out of internal strategic support, I'll take you into external strategic support. I have a principle that I talk about with clients called the board of you. It's envisioning having your own personal board of directors that are tasked with the growth and development of you as a person. We all know about the concept of a board of directors around a business. They're built with care. They're built to ensure there are multiple perspectives, different disciplines. You may have a finance expert, legal expert, commercial expert, etc. And they're all tasked to drive the organizational performance forward. We often don't invest the same level of rigor and attention into who we spend our time with. An external connection is so important because it gives you perspective. So this is a bit more professional focus than your emotional support network. They're the people that absolutely know you, trust you, want nothing but the best for you, and you can be your authentic self with immediately. The external strategic support may be different people that you are going to for their professional perspective. Yes, it can drift into that emotional support 100%, but it's seeking another perspective on the challenges you're wrestling with. The old adage of being able to see the wood for the trees. I have friends who straddle both sides. They really care about me and provide emotional support, but they're successful operators in their own professional field, different to my field. But they don't have to be friends. You can go to somebody without that emotional connection and say, I really respect what you do. Can I highlight a situation I'm dealing with? Can I get a perspective? The third support network that I'd like you to develop is peer support. So somebody that's doing the exact same role as you. Maybe you're a team leader. It's another team leader within your organization. Or maybe you're a CEO. It's a CEO in the same sector, but in a different business. It's a step beyond that strategic support we talked about because it's somebody who understands your world 100%. When I used to work in professional sport, the CEOs of the respective clubs in the competition would come together periodically. There were quarterly meetings, strategy was discussed, and whilst you were competitive as club entities, there was a lot of sharing of best practice. And naturally within that cohort of leaders, you were able to develop your own deeper personal relationships. Everybody would gravitate perhaps to somebody more than somebody else, and that's fine. But what you knew when you were talking about certain issues is they were walking the exact same path. So I think that peer support for somebody who is live and in the game, as it were, is important. And equally, I've also found a value and encourage clients to look for peer support of people who have retired or left that particular sector. You can go to somebody who spent many years in your particular field and ask them for their wisdom and their insight because they've already walked the path. Just because they're no longer in the sector doesn't matter. They have an understanding and a connectivity with you because they've been there, done it, and got the proverbial t-shirt. So who do you know that you can develop that peer support with who is still in the same sector or perhaps has retired or left the sector, but their perspective is essential as part of your ongoing support network? And last but not least, who is in your recovery network? I've done lots of episodes on this. I'll put the links in the show notes. But fundamentally, we need to find a way to recover both physically and mentally. So there will be a whole different raft of options that fit best for you, but they become part of your support network. It may be somebody that you go to for physiotherapy on a particular niggle that's challenging you, or a masseur that gives you a massage and helps remove some of the tension that you're holding in your body. It might be a personal trainer that holds you to account on some sort of physical discipline. It might be a coach in an area that you're passionate about, somebody that gives you advice in playing a particular sport. Maybe it's a tennis lesson, a golf lesson. These hobbies are essential to help us recover mentally and physically. And so having people that engage with us in those spaces that hold us to account is really powerful. So I hope those sections frame a roadmap that I would like you to step into. Who can support you emotionally? Who can offer that strategic support both internally within your organization and externally? Who are those peers that have walked the path either currently or in the past that you are walking, and how can you engage with them, and who can help build your recovery support network? If you can engage in those 4 areas, I can assure you your loneliness will dissipate, your sense of well-being and fulfillment will go through the roof. It is no longer acceptable to wear loneliness and isolation as some sort of badge of honor or fait accompli that, well, this is the job I do, so I have to be isolated and lonely. No, it's a deluded mindset, and I hope this has given you the start point for what you need to do. Now, as I do in every episode, I'm now going to give you some actionable takeaways. Your mind will be racing, hopefully, with all the things you can do in those 4 core areas already. And now I'm going to step into some simple steps that build into those themes that you can take and start working on immediately. Step number 1, audit your support network. Where are the gaps? Is it emotional? Is it strategic? Is it peer support? Or is it recovery? Find the gaps, start to build out the action plan for filling them. I'm a huge advocate of pen and paper, being able to disconnect from digital devices and really reflect on things and draw forth the answers that are within you. So that is a classic example for me, to be able to sit there and just say, okay, who's in my support network emotionally? Who's in that peer support network? Who's offering me that internal strategic support, that external strategic support, and who is helping me recover? Do not beat yourself up if the names on those lists are small or non-existent, as they may be in things like the recovery area. But then the challenge is, well, who can I approach? How can I start to build that network? The second tip is reduce isolation and loneliness by scheduling connection. The process you have gone through has identified where your gaps are, whether that's emotional support, peer support, strategic support, or recovery support. You know who you can approach to help you. You must take action. Make the call, send the email, book the follow-up conversation into your calendar, make it happen, and start to build that momentum. You will never build the required support network if you don't take the first step of connecting with the people who you would like to be a part of that network. Tip number 3, start to build your personal board of directors, the board of you. This is an area I'm super passionate about. I spend a huge amount of time on with clients, but you can do it on your own. Who genuinely cares about your growth and development? Who ideally can sit on that board that could bring emotional support? Who could bring peer support? Who could bring that strategic perspective, and who can enhance your recovery and bring that recovery support? Some individuals might be able to do multiple areas. But who are you spending the most amount of time with, and how are they helping your support network to reduce that level of stress and increase your overall performance and sense of fulfillment? Give it the respect and the rigor it deserves, because if you don't start to proactively create it, it will never happen. Tip number 4, stop romanticising self-reliance. I hope this episode is already doing this, but there is no badge, reward, or kudos for running yourself into the ground, trying to make every decision on your own, absorb everybody else's stress and emotional pressures, and be that eternally positive front man or lady that takes all the punches and never suffers any negative consequences. Why am I so passionate about this? Well, that was a role I operated for many years. I thought that was my job as a CEO. I did all of those things. But eventually, it's a bit like a boxer that just keeps getting the blows to the head. You can only take so much. So I do not want to fundamentally change who you are or your leadership DNA. What I'm encouraging you to do through this episode is to change your support network so you can bring the best version of you continually for now until the end of your leadership journey. If you have the right support network, the best version of you comes to the fore every day. You ride through and over the top of all the challenges that you are faced with. You are that emotional support for everybody around you. You lead with the best of impact, and your resilience stays really high. So it's a fabulous aspiration to have, but I have seen so many leaders, the very best, stumble at some point, not because they don't have the intellect, the desire, the moral compass, the integrity, the humility. They have all of those things in abundance. They just lack the right support network. And by ensuring that you do have it, you can continue to move forward at the highest possible level of performance. Ask for help earlier than feels comfortable. Again, I hope this episode is encouraging that already, but asking for help is a show of strength. If you wait too late, you're into damage control mode. This is about investing in what you need at the earliest opportunity. I talked about when we step into a role, people are very good at saying, here's the job description, here's your responsibilities, off you go. Well, be mindful if you're recruiting somebody that in addition to pushing those responsibilities forward, you're also asking them, what do they need? What support network can you help them develop? And equally important, when you step forward and you step into your new role, or indeed reflect on your existing role, ask for the help that's needed to build out the support systems we've talked about today. The overriding message, as I'm sure you're getting the point now, is it's a show of strength. Do not wait until you are feeling partially broken or completely broken mentally or physically to start asking for the support you need. Proactively build it. It's what you need. It will be to your eternal benefit in terms of your professional competency. Last but not least, invest in your recovery ecosystem. This is not a luxury. It's not a nice to have. It's a necessity. In my experience, leaders often fail to invest in this area of their support system. They become very good at looking at those internal connections for that strategic steer, those external perspectives. They start to find that emotional support system with the people that truly care about them. And they're very good at going out and finding peers and engaging and asking their perspective. But the area that I see time and time again that's neglected is, what are you doing in that recovery space? Who are the coaches or the trainers that can help you engage in your passions and hobbies? Who are the people that can help you improve your mental well-being, your physical well-being? So again, as I always say, no judgment, no patronization, but please do not neglect this area. Because if you get the other three areas working and you don't invest in this, you're never going to completely square that circle and get to those highest levels of performance and fulfillment. It's not a luxury. You are not being weak by investing in these areas. You are not removing time that you should be spending on your emails or your to-do list. See it as an investment in your professional performance. You will be far more effective on your to-do list if you can occasionally step out and engage in a hobby or do something that improves your physical or mental well-being. So there you have it. 4 core areas of focus to develop your support network and some actionable takeaways that you can start implementing immediately. I sincerely hope, as with every episode I produce, but particularly this one, you feel the sense of authenticity and sincerity in everything I'm saying. It's no coincidence that my business is called The Lonely Leader. That's my nod to what I experienced and what I see so many of us experience, a sense of loneliness and isolation in leadership, which ends up compromising our fulfillment. You might hold the line and do your job for many, many years, but when you step away, I've met too many people that have got resentment, regret, and frustration that it wasn't really the way they wanted to spend their time and their career. Or worse, I've seen so many people who had to step away from that leadership position because it was just damaging them too much emotionally, physically, and mentally. I've been there. I've damaged myself physically. I've felt that immense pressure and loneliness of leadership. So I do not want that to be the route you travel down. And even if you are down that road and you've been going down that road for a lot of years, you can make a change immediately. You can start to develop that support network. You can put your own actionable strategies in. So if you found this useful, please do share it with anybody that may need to hear this. I think all of us, when we actually step back, can think of somebody we know that is evidently struggling to truly build a support network to reduce the pressure and intensity of what they're dealing with at work. So share this episode with them. It's all content to help people, and we want to help as many people as we can. And if you're kind enough to share it with people, then we will hopefully ensure that the mindset that senior leadership especially is lonely will be dismantled, and we will find more and more people proactively building their support network and maintaining that support network throughout their life and their professional career. I wish you the very best of luck, and as ever, let me know how you get on. I love to hear your feedback. I read all the feedback personally, and it really does enhance my level of fulfillment to see and learn about what your challenges are and how you are moving forward to overcome them. Thanks for listening to the Lonely Leader podcast. I'd be very grateful if you could share and follow if the content resonates. And if you're looking for additional free resource to support your continued growth and development, then please do check out our social media and website details in the show notes. Remember, quality leadership on the outside must always start within.